Hey, everybody, welcome to Terry TV. Look at me on time. I'm working on it. Welcome to everybody. My name is Terry Hardin, and I am Walt Disney's legendary Imagineer, a Muppeteer, and a pop icon. But this channel is more like my freeway brain. And if you're here, I want to thank you for being present. Great to see you. Awesome, awesome, awesome. It's been a busy couple of weeks, as I mentioned on Friday, but let's talk about today, Monday, and why is Snow White crying? Could it be, as Crazy Mike says, and welcome back, Crazy Mike. I know you had a great vacation. Is she crying since Bob Chapek wants to increase the rent? That sounds like very, very, very possible. Possible indeed. Let me welcome you. If it's your first time, you may find this channel. Let me say that again. You will find this channel very different. Yes, you will. Because it's not really a how-to channel, and it's just something that has shot across and drawn my attention, and I talk about it. I was very much involved with films like Ghostbusters, pronounce that fast, Men in Black. I did the Dragon's Lair. If you've been to Paris and you've gone underneath the castle, by the way, please do if you're going to Paris. Sometimes people don't and they miss the dragon. And then I say, did you see my dragon? They say, what dragon? And then they get upset because they were in Paris and they didn't see one of the biggest attractions there that I am responsible for. And I'm very, very happy to have been a part of it as an Imagineer, along with the Big Thunder. Paris is the park that I was brought on to work as an Imagineer, and it has been one of my greatest honors to know that long after I'm dust, it'll still be there. So it's pretty incredible. I'm pretty excited to have been a part of it. Also, movies like the original Ghostbusters, Men in Black 1 and 2, Flintstones 1 and 2, the Hensons, Muppet 3D Theater was the first thing that I did with Jim, and worked with Jim for a little bit up until the day he passed. Splash Mountain Tokyo, which still exists, which makes me very happy, etc., etc. Older things like Dolly. I worked with Dolly Parton, and I've worked for Donald Trump, and I've worked with Michael Jackson, and blah and blah. Google me. That's the best way to do it. Just put my name, Terry Hardin, in, and it will tell you. I have 2 Wikipedia pages. You can learn more about me. If you don't know about me, here's a way to find out. Okay. Also, I want to welcome you. If you are seeing us after the broadcast, welcome anyway. Please consider joining. Your support helps. And I love to have you here. Honestly, very grateful to have you here. If it's not for you, I love you too. So don't feel bad if you change the channel because you wanted to learn how to flip and do this, or how do I broadcast and how do I make my followers increase? I'm really about the taking care of those who are with me. And if you want to join me, I'd love to have you join me. But the big numbers are something that I wrestle with every day, to be honest with you, as someone who has been doing this broadcast for about 4 years, more than 4, because it's 2024. So I did it before the pandemic. I think in 2019, I traveled the world as a speaker. I speak from the stage often and tell you stories. And if you happen to be someone who has a school or an organization who might benefit from my Imagineering know-how, feel free to reach out to me. You can go to terryhardin.com and there's an email there you can reach out to me for. Okay. Terry@terryhardin.com is pretty easy to remember, and I will answer you. There's all kinds of things that I'm up to. Okay. Many of you may be looking at me now. If you're joining us for the first time, said, gosh, she looks familiar. That's because I'm a judge on a show you may or may not have seen called Outrageous Pumpkins. So there's a little bit of my dossier for you. But basically, I like to just, it's a channel that really isn't about big numbers. I wish I could tell you it is, but I'm really happy that the numbers I have, and I'm really grateful that those of you who have decided to subscribe, join up and visit with me every week. I treasure you greatly. So if it's something you think you're interested in, then please do. It's not Disney centric. It kind of works like my brain, which can be a little scary, changing lanes without notice. So there you go. Today, I wanted to talk about why Snow White is crying, because over this weekend, so let me just explain a little bit about why the subject became a little bit important to me. One of the reasons is that in order to bring you content, sometimes, like many people, I'm sure, who do YouTube broadcasts, or in my case, also broadcast on Facebook. I don't do much TikTok because at 67 years old, yes, I am. At 67 years old, I don't want too many venues because it's hard enough for me to keep track of the venues that I have. I am on TikTok, but I don't go there very much. And it's because I still, and this is full disclosure, guys, I cannot figure out how to keep the music off my flippin' videos. And I don't like the music. I would rather it be my voiceover or explaining what you're looking at, or music I choose. So I've tried it a couple of times and it's just been not good. So my husband says, we'll look at it. Maybe we'll try to post a couple of things later. But right now it's just, doesn't, I don't have the patience for it. I'm an artist who would like to be under a hot light, sculpting and painting and doing that as much as possible. So I love doing these two. This is where you can find me, period. Right? Or live. I'm often live at a lot of places. So I am a face-to-face kind of person, because when I was growing up, phones were not like this. They were not like this. They were murder weapons, or they could be murder weapons. They weren't necessarily murder weapons. And now the new cradle phone, also good for murder weapon. No, it had a dial that went, and things like that. But the receiver was nice and heavy. And if you ever want to see something very cool, look at an old movie called Dial M for Murder, and you'll know what I mean about being heavy enough to be a murder weapon. Super, super awesome, right? But I do feeds, because one thing I do love about the new phones is you can put in things that you're interested in. Like you can put in keywords like Disneyland, or Disney films, or just plain Disney, Ghostbusters, Rocky Horror Picture Show, old movies. What else do I like? Kick butt movies, Lego, painting, sculpture, contests, etc., etc. And it's a feed that comes. Y'all know this if you guys really know your phones, and I only know it a little bit. As my husband says, a little bit, enough to be dangerous. And over the weekend, while I was finishing my final project, because I'm taking a course in color concept for painting, color concept for painting. I started painting in 2020, and I've always been, I think every artist challenges with color when they start. As a sculptor, I have in my company, TERRI HARDIN Designs, I have 2 painters, a mold maker, and myself. It's a very small, close-knit group of people that put out prototypes and lovely sculptures for you to collect, etc., etc. So he worries about color. I know what I want in color, but I found that this color course is allowing me to communicate better with the people who paint the projects that I work on. As a painter, I wanted to learn color concepts. And so while I was painting my final project, my phone started lighting up, doing all this kind of crazy stuff. And I looked, and it was this Snow White. And I asked my husband, what the heck is going on with my phone? And my husband said the new Snow White trailer dropped and people aren't happy. Now, my husband tends to have his finger on the pulse of what's occurring in the world. Me being an artist, I kind of like the Cliff Notes version, because the world can affect how your art is. Those of you who are artists, if you get too melancholy, you get too down, sometimes it can affect that what you're painting or sculpting. I lost my dad, and his anniversary, 1-year anniversary of his passing, is coming up in September. And I found that I had trouble sculpting. So I thought the painting might push it in a direction that would be better. And it seems to be working today. Not today, but tomorrow, the next day will be a sculpting day for me. And I'm so excited to get back into it. So that's the way I want it to be as an artist. Before, I'd come in here and I just couldn't get started and I didn't know why. But my dad is the first major person that I've lost of my parents. My mother is still living and I'm affected by it. And I wasn't prepared as an artist for it to affect me as much as it did and throughout the course of this year. I'm the administrator of his estate, so there's that. But more importantly than the business side of it is just the emotional side. Art is a very internal and emotional place to be. And no matter what you design, create, paint, build, whatever you do, you can be affected by it. And I was, and I didn't know exactly what to do to move forward because if you're just joining me, you may not know me, but what I'll tell you is I'm a goer. Go, 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 go. Yeah, I rarely sit. I'm in a new exercise program and I will tell you it's doing well. It's a simple exercise, 8 minutes, and it's caused me to lose some inches. I can tell you that because I'm wearing a size small shirt. And I usually have been wearing extra larges just because I like a looser fit. But today I said, well, let's see where I am in my exercise program. I've only been exercising 7 days and I've already lost some inches because this fits. And it's one of my favorite shirts. I just think it's really pretty. It's just and it's a Disney shirt, if you can believe that. I keep looking. I'm sure it has maybe a Disney character hiding somewhere, but the thing is it's really pretty. It's Hawaiian. It's got cars. It's got, it has a really nice sort of Beach Boys feel to it. And it's colorful. My husband always says, wear colorful clothing when on camera. So I'm just beside myself. I'm thrilled and excited that I've lost some inches, that I found that on my phone, my steps just in my daily life go around 2,000 because I just don't sit still. So this is good because I don't always have my phone with me and it's the only way I'm recording my steps, but I digress. Snow White came through. Bam, 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 bam. My husband is telling me that everybody is really not happy with the trailer that dropped, but they're also not fond of Rachel, who is Snow White, or I personally don't like using those words in the same sentence because I do not believe this woman is Snow White. I'm sorry. I don't believe you are a good representation. You're pretty. But it takes more than a pretty face to be Snow White. Snow White has a lot of heart and she has a lot of compassion and she's sweet and she's kind. And let me tell you something, if a bunch of animals are going to come to your rescue, you have to be a very special person. And honestly, I don't think that's going to happen with this actress. I don't think she's going to be lost in a forest as herself and animals will come and help her. In fact, I just don't know. That takes an extremely special person. And so I really started to not be happy when I watched a couple of videos that came across my feed and she started to talk about how the original Snow White was basically a piece of garbage. I'm sure she said other things that were very offensive, but when she kept saying, negative, derogatory, I'm not going to revisit it. I just felt like you don't bite the hand that feeds you. Didn't Disney hire her to do this? And why is she doing this? And it was a heartbreaker for me. Just everything that she said has been upsetting. And it's because it is the main thing that put Walt on the map. And if you are a Disney person, you know that it was more than just an animated cartoon when it came out. It was the first time that people experienced characters being whole people. Like each character was a rounded, physically dimensional personality instead of a bunch of animated characters doing bits like Tom and Jerry. Tom comes out, hits Jerry or whatever. Mouse hits Cat. Cat gets angry, chases Mouse in the hole. All that sort of thing. And they were bits. They were funky bits. And not wound well-rounded actors. But in Snow White, each animated character is indeed a whole person. They have sadness, they have happiness, they have anger, they have emotions. They go through emotions, and many had never seen an animated cartoon, if you will, emote so well. And from that came many others that follow that we love today. And there's just a lot of heart and a lot of sweetness in the original Snow White. I especially love the art style that it's in, which is so different from the style we see today. But it's a very, very special um, animated, and I don't think anyone needs to badmouth it. If you don't like it, okay, but don't be working for the company and then badmouth it. I just think it's in bad form. You know, I just think it's bad form. So I wondered what you guys said. But before we get to your comments and hear what you have to say, I want to tell you about Terry's Tribe. You knew I was going to tell you about Terry's Tribe. So let's go over and let me show you how you can join. What the heck is Terry's Tribe? It is my Patreon page, and I mention it at the top of almost every one of my videos because your voice needs to be heard. It is very inexpensive to become a member of Terry's Tribe. It's just $5 a month. It is a membership site, hence $5 a month, but $5 a month. And this is so you put a little skin in the game. If I'm going to show up and talk to you in the way and visit with you one-on-one, we do that every week on a Zoom call. And then I broadcast just before I come on here to the tribe. And so it's just $5 a month on the base portal for you to enter. There are higher portals for you to enter, but I urge you to start with the $5 one. See if it works for you. Stay there if you want, or go up higher, because I, being an artist, have not yet fully filled the other portals. So like the teaching portal, I'm studying that now, which is why I'm taking my color course, not only to learn color, but to see how she teaches a course, to learn about what venue she uses and how she makes it work. And after this class, I may write to her and ask her if I may ask her some questions about her platform, because I thought her platform was really good. But there are a couple of things that I would have done differently because of course, I'm a different person. And plus, I'm married to one of the top editors and filmmakers. In my opinion, he's my husband, so I can have it. But he's Emmy winning. So I learn about my cameras. I learn about switchers. I learn about, here's a nice 3/4 view that my husband came up with. Now you're kind of buried here. And the reason you're a little bit buried today is because I was not planning on using this camera. And also he just got me this little thing right here. This is a little like Alexa thing. When I'm in my studio, I can't hear my doorbell. So this will tell me that the doorbell is ringing. And all I have to do is ask her to show me my front door. It will play me some talk radio. I can't listen to music, so that's why she's here. But she won't always be here because this is going to be a camera that I want to show you guys something. But this is a nice 3/4 camera. And then I can switch over to this one where I can talk to you right away. And then I can switch over to this one. Now, look at this, guys. I wanted to show this to you because why is this important to me to show this to you? Because on Terry's Tribe, which is $5 a month, that's it. No harm, no foul, because your voice needs to be heard just as much as mine. It's not me talking at you kind of like today. It's where we all talk. You may want to know how to become an artist, how to make a living doing what you love. I've been doing that since I was 8 years old. That's right, 8 years old, and profiting from it. So broke artists, leave the broke artist book on the shelf and come learn for just $5 a month. But we also do a thing called the treasure chest. And I'm happy to say that everyone in Terry's Tribe, extremely warm and generous. I started a treasure chest to clean my garage. I get a lot of cool stuff from Disney, and I get a lot of cool stuff, right? Just fun stuff, pamphlets, paperwork, sometimes pins, whatever, And I thought that it would be nice to do this kind of game show raffle thing. And then everyone in the tribe started donating. And this is one of the pieces that was donated from tribe member David Skipper. He's a writer and a performer, very talented man, also paints. And this book I thought I'd share with you today because it's such a beautiful topic. Snow White is a lovely topic. Now, I don't know if you remember this book at all, but this book, this one is, I think, the second printing. But I need you to look at some of these drawings and sketches that made the original movie so special. I mean, I don't know if the actors have looked at anything like this, but this is not computer generated. These are hand drawn. Thousands of cells, thousands of artists coming up with ways to give up depth, like the multiplane camera, which it talks about, and top artists, storyboard artists, concept artists, all work together. Disney brought them together to create something magical. And I just want to ask you, actresses who are in this new movie, what is your beef? What does the matter with you? Watch the movie and understand how miraculous it truly is. As I flip through these drawings, if you don't have this book is going to be auctioned off for charity. I think that's exactly what they said. And we're going to have, this was David used this. David used to do a one-man show as Walt Disney, and this was his prop. So I have the letter confirming that and his signature, plus a picture of him performing, which I think is going to make a lovely raffle prize for a charity that I do called the Chalk Walk Children's Hospital of Orange County. I'm going to be doing this, but these are some of the things. It's not always a giant book. Sometimes it's something as simple as this latest 69th anniversary pin from Disney. So it's all kinds of fun stuff. But people don't join to get the treasure chest because you never know when I'm going to do a treasure chest, and you never know when I'm not going to do one. But I just wanted you to see all the beautiful characterizations. Here's Snow White, and it shows you the various characterizations of these characters. You know, bashful and dopey and Doc and sneezy. And one of the things that was said by Peter Dinklage was that he felt that if you had live action dwarves playing dwarves, that it would be offensive. I don't know how this is possible. And little people across the board were saying, thanks, Peter, you're doing really well, but we could use the job. So we'd like to have that job. And now it's done by CG because of fear. So what is my point with that as I flip through and you see how gorgeous these drawings are and how wonderful they are? Character studies. If you're someone who's an animator, you may know about this stuff, but this is all about Snow White and why. I mean, this was not, you know, the things that they are being accused of is improper. It's just wrong. It's just wrong, guys. So basically, I won't be going to this movie because I need to boycott it is what I need to do, and I will. But it's got you know, if you can find this book, I say grab it so you can learn better. Probably should send it to the actress she might appreciate it better if she knew a little more about the movie, I think. But this is artists coming together to create something magical, not to sit there and do some of the things that she has accused them by. So I just thought you should see them, especially this last one, where you see how darling all these characters are. Each one has their own personality. If you haven't watched the original animated version, you need to get on it, right? You need to just get on it because the original movie is very, very special. This book explains a lot about it and what artists went through and shows you all the drawings like I just showed you now. And this is something that I don't think you need to be 67 to defend. And maybe she's wondering, you know, why are people getting so angry with her? But, you know, sometimes people send emails or tweet or text or speak before their brain kicks in. And Jim Rohn, the #1 public speaker, in my opinion, in the world, said, wait 3 seconds before going into the intersection. That was his advice to me years ago before he passed away. That could mean count to 3 after the light turns green. to make sure the intersection is clear. That's the obvious one, right? But the next one is take a moment before you send that email or tweet that tweet or say what you want to say on Facebook or open your mouth in an interview, because people have phones now and you can't take it back. When it took longer to get from A to Z and we used a thing like a newspaper, maybe you could say things and kind of hide it a little bit later. But with everybody having a camera in their phone, you can't do that anymore. So wait 3 seconds before you send, tweet, talk, just to be sure what you're saying is really what you mean. And I think, because he also said that a reputation is a very important thing to preserve, but very easy to lose if you're not careful. So, here are iconic people who have done some great work, as I understand it. But think about the tribe here. I'm going to pop that off, but you can go there, take a look, and see if you'd like to join. We'd love to have you because your voice needs to be heard. That's what I'm saying right now. But it is important to be careful, because in today's world, when you start to say something, you've got to be sure. Even things like Facebook, which is for old people, but if you don't think 67 is older, it's an older person born in 1957. So, I like Facebook and I like YouTube. Those are the two that I like. I think YouTube is, is there anything on YouTube that you can't learn about? Which I love very, very much. If I want to learn about something, I'll have to go to YouTube. My husband has to keep reminding me, because I'm like, I tend to go to a book because that's where I learned back in the day. But if you think it's for old people and you're not on Facebook, that's cool. But y'all are on YouTube. And many of you want to broadcast, and maybe you want to be YouTube stars, but understand that there's several things you should be careful of as a YouTube star. First of all, watch out for burnout. If all you're going for is the big numbers, followers, and you finally find that what you did originally, which drew people to you, you're now performing like a circus dog out of fear because you don't want to lose your followers, that's the time to reassess, because you don't want to run yourself into the ground. I'm very, how do I say this? I guard very, very carefully my private time. And so I'm happy in here. I'm happy with the followers I have. Sure, I'd like to have more subscribers if it benefits you. But if it doesn't benefit you, change the channel. I'm not going to be hurt. Okay? I'll say go with God and enjoy your life. So this is just me giving you a few tips of my wise creative self, who knows the benefit of reaching out and speaking to you guys, because this is the thing that I want to help you out with more than anything. Is if you want to be broadcasting, just be a little careful. Now, what I started to say was that Facebook, I saw a friend of mine on Facebook, like we often do, all of a sudden they say, who, so, blah, blah, blah's on Facebook. And you go, yay, blah, blah, blah. And I wanted to say, howdy, stranger, it's been a long time. That was what I was going to post. Howdy, stranger, it's been a long time. And a warning came up from Facebook saying, do you really want to use this terminology? And I was like, because there's a word in there that may or may not be appropriate and could be taken the wrong way. So I analyzed it. I was like, howdy, stranger, it's been a long time. Howdy, it's probably not howdy. It's got to be stranger. And in my day, we said this a lot. It wasn't like, hey, stranger, what's up? It was howdy, stranger. But once I changed stranger and said, hi, my friend, haven't seen you in a while, it went through without a problem. I guess I was grateful for the warning, but concerned because it was a bit, but that's the point. I think there's a lot of people out there that are becoming oversensitive, or already are oversensitive about certain things. If that's you, that's your business. But for me, I'm half black and I'm half white. My dad's black, my mother's white. So I've gotten it from both sides. All right. But I'm also older. And I realize that if you lead with tolerance and understanding, you're going to do a lot better than if you lead with hate. Right? Just don't hate on each other. All right. Just don't do it. It doesn't make you feel good and it's not good for anybody else. So if that's your choice, stop it. Just that's what I'm saying. Stop it. So this is what I feel about Snow White. I feel that these two actresses who stood up on a YouTube channel and started to diss Snow White acted as though they hated the original film. In some cases, I think they even stated this, and it just breaks my heart. You know, she talks about having not seen it and she hates it. How can you go back and watch it? It's not that long of a film. Animation is only 90 minutes sometimes. And I think Snow White is a little bit less, actually. You know, it takes animators a long time to draw out every single cell. Okay. It's not like today. Okay. But let's see what you have to say, because I'd love to hear what you have to say. Oh, okay. So Crazy Mike is telling me that it's September 3rd is getting close. Here's his comment about a new belt. And it looks like another vacation is in his midst. He also says 2 great movies you have to see. See now. You should see me. You should, what is it? Now You See Me 1 and 2. I've seen the first one. Fantastic movies. We're getting them on Amazon DVD. And shipping them to the hotel. Well, there you go. Well, I've talked about movies in the libraries because now streaming can cost you a fortune, can't it? So you might think about building your own library so you can just take it off the shelf and watch it when you want, so they don't take away something that's special to you, like Now You See Me 1 and 2, as he mentions here. Here he asks me if a speaker, are you a woofer or a tweeter? I'm a truth teller. So there you go. Let's see. He says here, I'm going to skip that one. Speaking of color, my mom is letting us use her big suitcase for our trip. Tan, so I made masking tape and made it a TARDIS. Oh, that sounds fun. You see, so now he can identify it at the airport. Both sides, blue tape along the sides, and it will stand out. See, I didn't even have to read that comment to know what that was. He says he sees the Woody on my shirt. And then here, Snow White sounds like the 13th Doctor, Jodie Whittaker. When she took over the role, the ratings crashed through the floor. Was she the first female doctor? I think my husband was telling me about this, Mike, that she was the first female doctor and people were like livid. Not, oddly enough, that she was a female, but something about what she did or said or acted or whatever. It just wasn't to their taste. And the fans will tell you, won't you guys? You will tell. And this is what I've always said. Ask. If you're going to do a movie or something, and it is debatable, ask. Disney fans in particular, and I know I'm Disney-centric today, but I am, because Snow White is crying. I want to aid her. I want to help her out here, the original Snow White. Is that before you start saying things, you need to, before you make a movie like they've made this movie, which I think they should have never done. They should have left it alone. But full disclosure to you that may or may not know me, I'm not a fan of the live action ones. I think Disney does live action ones because they're afraid to do something creative. And this bothers me because they are the creative capital. They're very good at creating, as is Jim Henson, which I'm also part of. And so I love the creativity of both companies and what they create and made it magical. Now, if you have Disney Plus and you've watched the Jim Henson documentary, one of the things you're going to know is that Jim didn't always hit it out of the park with his creativity. He made a couple of movies like Labyrinth and Dark Crystal, which are very, very much loved by myself and many, but they didn't do well at the box office originally. But he didn't care. He made movies he wanted to make. Jim did. And I think the Walt Disney Company created things that they wanted to create, and sometimes they were good and sometimes they weren't good, you know? I mean, that's what happens. I'm taking a color course in painting, and I will tell you, in the beginning, my stuff was me. And in the end, it's better. With practice, you get better. But you can ask people, what are they interested in? I mean, if you don't know the Star Wars franchise, ask people who are into Star Wars. I would love it for me. I've seen the first movie 183 times. What did I tell you? Google me. See what I mean? And I can tell you, we will tell you what we're looking for. Of course, Mandalorian came out on Disney Plus and everybody went gaga. So why? Favreau. Why did Favreau know how to do the Mandalorian? Because Favreau was a fan. I think very much I might have bumped into him during many of the conventions that I was at when he was a young person. And I was doing the conventions, cosplaying, as they call it now. It was costume contest back then. And I played all these characters. I built the suits. I built the suits for my friends. I sewed everything up, built the hardware, everything, because I wanted to pretend that I was one of these characters. And I enjoyed it. I loved it. I loved it. I sculpted a Yoda using the cushion from my parents' couch, not advisable, and a pair of Fisker scissors, those gold scissors, those gold-handed scissors. I don't have a big pair. I was going to show you a big pair. Oh, yes, I do. Here it is. Here's a big pair. These are probably no, these are Fiskars. These are the official Fiskars, but here they are. This is what I used to sculpt my Yoda. And then I performed him as a puppet and took best of show in 2 events. So I know this stuff. I love this stuff. I love the Star Wars stuff. I collected a lot of stuff in the beginning and then sold my collection for 6 figures. So this is in 07. It's all gone now. Yep. Poof. Other people have it. And what I'm saying is, though, you can find the same person in Disney. You can find the same people in Marvel. You can find the same people in sports, can't you? Yes, those of you who love the Dodgers, or you love football, or you love soccer, or you love whatever it is you love, hockey, whatever you love, it's the same. We just collect different things. Lego, let me say Lego. Lego is a good investment because those kits seem to appreciate like magic. Not all of them, but they can. My point is this. If you know your venue, you know your venue. And a lot of times you're willing, just out of the goodness of your heart, to share what you think might be good. And they don't ask us. They sit up in whatever, a big castle, and try to think it and work so hard to figure out what happens. And then they come up with the Snow White fiasco. And that's what it is. It's a fiasco. I don't think anyone's going to see it, except unless they're curious, or they have a channel where they review it. They'll get all the reviewers from the YouTubers who will have a lot of fun tearing it apart because it's not going to be good, So it'll be entertaining for us to watch them review it. But they spent a lot of money. They pulled it off the shelf. It was supposed to come out this year. Now it's not coming out till 2025. Do we wonder why? Because of all the anger, because they offended. They have messed with the Disney collector base, enthusiast base, because as Disney, as those of us who love Disney products, love Disney films, for the most part, except for the live action in my case, it's our family. So you don't diss my sister Snow White. You don't make fun of her, and you don't tell me how awful she is and how awful the prince is, because that's my family you're dissing. It's my family. And what happens when someone messes with your family? The tigers come out. Rawr. Okay? And the claws are scratching, man. So this is the thing I noticed. So I thought I'd talk about it today because I don't think this is a good idea. I do not think that this is a good idea. What do you think? Let's find out. Let's find out. Joe Penny. Good morning, Terry. That's right. The new version of Snow White looks ridiculous. There are no 7 dwarves. They call them magical creatures. Yeah, don't get me started. Actually, just one of them is a dwarf. Let's see. Erasure of actors of size boycott. See, this is what you got to think about when you work through fear. Fear is never good. And by trying to be kind to the little people community, you're messing with it, aren't you? Okay. Many little people said that, this would have given them an opportunity to play these characters. Um, I can't speak for all you guys, but do you remember the movie Time Bandits? Gosh, that's such a fun movie. It has people of all sizes and shapes in it. And I never once thought, I wonder why they used a little person in that particular role. I never thought that. I never observed that. It never occurred to me. I thought the movie was wonderful. And I think the best way for you to be good to all people of all colors, of all races, of all shapes, of all sizes, is to just cast your flippin' movie and then make it. Stop worrying about making it for women or making it for men or making it for gay people or make it. Stop. Just bring all the actors in and let them read for the roles and then cast accordingly. Ted Lasso. Right? Ted Lasso. If you haven't seen Apple TV, get the 7 days free trial and watch. Just binge Ted Lasso. Get some popcorn, get your favorite drink, and binge. And while you're watching Ted Lasso, know that he knew these people as creative people. And he basically said, I think you're going to be great for this part. I think you'll be great for this part. I think you'll be fabulous for this part. And let's bring in your wife, Higgins. So you and your wife can actually act together and have fun together. When has that ever happened? As far as I know, not. Let's bring you in, Miss Hannah, because you sing like a rock star. And I don't know that many people know this about you. And I think you'd be a really great badass bee. So I'm going to make you this character. And she's fabulous. She's absolutely amazing. Plus, you've got your Roy Kents in the world, your Jamie Tarts in the world, you're beautiful and amazing. I mean, they just don't stop. Every actor is priceless, all the way down to Cumberbatch. I love all of them. Or Bumper Catch. Anyway, number 21. They are all great. The team members are great. Everyone is good. And when you watch this, you're going to go mad because it's a cast that really works, because Sudeikis took the time to think about each individual human being. How will this person be in this role? And then he talked with them, maybe read with them a little bit. And now they're all rock stars. Why? Because they're good. We didn't get to see them. And he just took everyone and shined a light on their little space. And we fell in love with them. He never sat there and did a tally. He just said, this guy I love, that girl I love, this person I love. And it was amazing. It was amazing. It is an amazing show. This is the way you cast films. You cast films, you will often cast people you've worked with, because anyone who's haven't given you a good experience on a movie set, you remember. Those who helped, not hindered. Those who hindered and didn't help, you go, oh, do I want to go through that again? No. They're amazing actors and actresses, but they're too high maintenance. So scoot away. We want to have fun on our set. Okay. I'm not saying that was Sudeikis, but I am saying in today's world, sometimes being a good person and helping the process is better than the talent. Okay. If you're talented and a pain in the you-know-what, they think, do I really want that disrupting my set? Are you part of the solution or are you part of the problem? This is the way it works. I know this is how I often got hired. Okay. Because as a puppeteer, people don't really look at that as an acting job sometimes, even though it's acting with parts of your body, not this. Sometimes you get lucky to do a voice, but a lot of times, you don't. And so they want that set to be smooth. So they especially want the puppeteers not to be a pain. Yeah. Flintstones comes to mind. That was a really interesting set to be on because there was a lot of personalities involved in the Flintstones. And I made a couple of faux pas and I worked to fix them later. Because I assumed about some of these actors that the persona they showed on camera was the persona they were inside them as human beings. I soon learned that's not the case. So I had to kind of backpedal and apologize for some of the behaviors that I had because I assumed someone was extra jolly and jovial and they were super shy. And I scared them half to death because of my somewhat boisterous personality that you're noticing here. So it's just in today's world, especially on a film set, there's a lot of criteria that goes through it, but we don't need to be doing what Disney seems to be doing, which is checking off boxes. Do we have a Latino? Do we have a gay person? Do we have a black person? Do we have a barf? Do we have a balance of women and men, or is it mostly women? And are we bad mouthing the white dude? Sorry, not good. Two wrongs don't make a right. Okay. So this Snow White film got me worked up because it was a girl I don't think has really watched the movie, or maybe she was on her phone when she actually had it on the TV. And that's not watching it, guys. You have to put your eyes on the screen. If you're that kind of a person, stop it. I'm sounding like an old person now, aren't I? Doggone it, get off my lawn and put that phone away and talk to me, fool. Yes, I do. I sound like that. But he's right. He's right. Boycott is what Joe Penny is saying, and I think he's not alone. Hi, Terry, I'm back. Hope you finally got to see Margaret Carey and enjoyed the rest of your day. At D23, got to see Margaret Carey Joseph, and I went to dinner with her. I spoke with my tribe today. It was really, really nice. It wasn't a one-on-one. Margaret is so loved that she had, it was about 12 of us, but we had a great time. Really, really fun. Really, really fun. Mike Pruitt, I am fine. He asks, how are you today? Mike always comes on and asks me how I am. And you want to talk about doing something nice, Mike, I can always count on him coming and saying, I'm doing great. Look at my shirt, my new shirt. See, look. There's that Woody he was talking about under my hair. Thank you, Mike. So Crazy Mike says is in mind when I say Terry's tribe, he sees Terry with a large feather stick him up in the back of her head and 25 cartoon paintbrushes running around her. You must be an animator, Mike. But yeah, lots of visuals. And that's another thing that, some people are saying. I don't want to digress, but a small digress because Crazy Mike, you made me think of it. Disney did the Jungle Cruise. All right. It was my favorite ride as a little kid. I loved the Jungle Cruise. I used to sit on the boat when you could sit on the boat and just go round and round while I sketched these characters. And then the cast member told me about Imagineers who actually had created these characters, sculpted these characters. And it became my mission from the time I was about 8 or 9 years old is to learn more about the Imagineers and then later become one in 1987. Which I still am. I'm a come here, get away, Imagineer. I'll explain that later, but I am a Disney Imagineer still. I just don't work in-house. I work as a contractor. They bring me in when they need me. But my point is that they had headhunters on the ride. And Disney felt that, or somebody somewhere said it was bad to have headhunters. And I absolutely love the headhunters because you know what? Headhunters actually exist. It's not like they were saying anything bad about anybody or they were, bad mouthing any race. They were headhunters and they did eat people. They hunted and shrunk heads. It is a historical truth. Okay. Headhunters existed and I loved them. In fact, in my Disney map, I got to sculpt my favorite things in each attraction when I sold it at a Disneyana convention back in 2001 as a sculpture. I included the headhunters because I thought they were, Walt brought this to your attention without making it scary. It was a joke. It was, I forget the joke, but it was clever. In my opinion, it was clever. But Disney thought the headhunters would offend some people. So they changed it to monkeys and apes. Now, I don't want to go into this too much, but people of color had names referred to them back when I was a child that were monkey and apes. So I don't know how this is less offensive than headhunters. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I don't know how this was the solution, because I think you kind of missed the mark on this one. Yeah. So back to Snow White, same deal. You got to ask people, meet with people, converse with people, and lead with tolerance. Okay. Sometimes back in my day when I was growing up, there was still quite a bit of segregation when I was a tiny girl. And so my father said sometimes a white person just doesn't know how to relate because they've never met someone so unique and unusual as you look. So find out what their questions are before you get yourself all up in a tizzy or getting upset, instead of leading with anger, like some can. I'm not saying you are, I'm just saying some can. So there you go. Anyway, Joseph says the recent debacle about Rachel Ziegler is her tweets about the trailer. The first complimented it, but the next was saying to save Palestine. Is this just kids today? I'm 67. You guys got to help me. Because I don't. Is she trying to like, look over there? I don't know. What's the, I'm with you, Joseph. What does that mean? And even Crazy Mike says that's crazy. She really shouldn't bring up politics, especially since Gail Godot is from Israel. She never thinks before she speaks. You know, you're right. She never does. And this is what I'm talking about. Wait 3 seconds before you post. Reread it. Because, you know, have you guys ever had this same problem where whatever it is, the word replace decides to write your you know, you use the microphone and you speak your text or you speak your email to something, and then you stop and you send it? Don't do that, because I will tell you, the and it must have happened to you, the spell check just punks you. It changes names. It does all these things. I did this to my friend the other day, and she is such a lovely person. I spelled out her name. You know, I spelled out Diane, and it put in Janet. Janet is nowhere near Diane. And I sent it because I was sure of it. And she says, hey, my name is Diane. And I said to her, I wrote Diane. Now, whether she believes me or not. But the point is that I got to read every single one of these, because that little stinker likes to mess me up. And I don't know if you felt the same way. But maybe it's to teach you to read whatever you write before you send it. But that's my point. That's my point. And Joseph, I saw that I knew what you said, but good for you for fixing it. Just see what I mean? My point exactly. I should probably spell check before sending. No, you should probably just read, because spell check or word replace is going to bug you. You know, usually when you get what used to be it, Joe, in all fairness, SPEA, and then you got these little words suggesting which one you want, and you clicked on it. Sometimes it doesn't take. You think it doesn't it? So I've had to really watch it. I don't know if you feel the same way, Joseph, but I have really had to watch it. Honestly, I hope the movie tanks. Plus, I hope Rachel, what's-her-face, has trouble finding work for a while. Peter Dinklage is a moron, and every live-action movie he's in insults little people because it's live action. Well, I don't know if I feel that way, Joe, but I will tell you that I think that sometimes actors need to wait 3 seconds before they do what they're doing. Because I think Peter should have asked little people. I mean, if it's his personal feeling that Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs were offensive, okay, that's your business. But a lot of little people are very proud of who they are. Why wouldn't they? A lot of people are proud of who they are. You look at them and you think, oh, you poor thing. I mean, is that the right way to act? Is that the right attitude that people should say? And even if you think it, should you speak it out loud? I don't think so. But as a puppeteer, we come across all kinds of soup performers, all sizes, small, big, super tall, all different sizes. And this is important because they play a lot of creatures and characters. I mean, you remember The Hobbit, right? All of these people playing Hobbit characters, all of these people in Lord of the Rings, very happy to get to work, very happy that their stature is finally being noticed. Well, I have two people that I've worked with quite a bit, and they're known as the Griffos, Joe and Cindy. Now, Joe and Cindy are little people, and Joe and Cindy were the stunt people for that show with Lonnie Anderson and Burt Reynolds, that series from way back. I was shooting dinosaurs at the time. They were shooting this show. And they were the stunt people for the children. They would always do the stunts that, kids couldn't do. They would be the stunt actors. Both Joe and Cindy had a pretty good career with that, as Minnie did. But I'm speaking about these two because they really are they really were someone that we would go to lunch because we were on the same set, and we did several shows together. Just two people that are very special friends. And the reason I'm pointing out that they're little people is because Cindy came to me one day and says, "You're not going to believe it, but I'm pregnant." And I was so happy for her. I said, "Oh my gosh, Cindy, this is exciting." And she says, "Yeah, it is, but I'm a little bit nervous because it's going to be a full-size child." Now, Cindy was about 4 feet, maybe, if I'm saying that correctly. And Cindy, if you're watching, forgive me. But the point she was making is that to carry a full-size child, that's a big kid. That could be a big kid. And she was very excited to have a full-size child. And Joe started to make jokes about the baby. He said that he needed to train his child to be afraid of him early because he was going to grow to be not a little person. He was going to be a taller person. And so he says, "I don't want him grabbing me by the ankles, turning me upside down and saying, 'Dad, give me the keys.'" And this was something that Joe joyfully shared and pointed out. And it was an observation that he made that was with love and honesty and toleration. He was actually saying, and this is something that he said could happen. Not that he wouldn't raise his children to be absolutely beautiful, but it was a cute joke. And he is a very funny person. Both of them are very, very a lot of fun. But this is what I'm talking about. Okay. I'm talking about, you're assuming that because I'm mixed, I'm bitter, or you're assuming because they're little people, they're bitter, or because they're super tall, they're bitter, or because they are a curvy girl, they're bitter, or because they are with a group called the Uglies, they're bitter. They're not. It actually separates them and makes them unique, because you couldn't, if you wanted a little person in the role, you can't ask a tall person to be a little person. Now that's offensive. Do you see what I mean? So they should have just cast the Seven Dwarves with little people. It would have been a lot of fun to see them perform. So many talented actors are little people. A lot of little people are SAG and they're talented actors. And as we know, Peter is an amazing actor. Size has nothing to do with it. It really doesn't have anything to do with it. Is can you act or can't you act? Period. Are you good in the role or do you suck? Period. Your height is not going to make a difference. If you suck as an actor, you suck as an actor. I'm sorry. I mean, am I right or am I right? I mean, come on. Come on. This is ridiculous, some of the things that these behaviors. Ay, is all I have to say here. I mean, ugh. But Peter, I think he felt strongly about his position. It's just that because he's so known and he did such an amazing job in Game of Thrones and other films, that we listen to actors. But we have to understand they put their pants on one leg at a time like everybody else. They are not always the most brilliant people. As the world, you've got brilliant people and you've got not so brilliant people. They're called humans. So they're human. He's human. Give him a little slack, but he should have waited 3 seconds before he spoke, is all I'm saying. Disney's reputation is already in the toilet. This movie ain't going to help it. And then we have the amazing Joe Penny. who I love because he's a very passionate person. I know him. I don't think we've ever met face to face, have we, Joe? But I have a lot of affection for Joe because Joe really speaks his mind, just straight up. And as a result, sometimes Facebook isn't quite happy with what he says, but he always just speaks his truth. And he always tells me when he's not going to be around. And then I'm always happy to welcome back. He's been a follower and fan and friend of mine through this or through Facebook and YouTube for quite some time. And I love hearing what you have to say, Joe. He also will tell you the movie and the date it came out. Okay, so if I ever need anything, I'll go that movie with, he will pop it up. He will tell you. I know I should audition for Grumpy. Hey, my Facebook page and group are about everything Disney before 1995. After that, it started going to hell in a handbasket. What did I tell you? He's good, right? I say he's good anyway. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Let's see. We've got Facebook is too politically correct. Yes, Crazy Mike. I guess it is. I guess it is. But you know what? You got YouTube to state your truth, don't you? I mean, you've got channels that talk about politics, that cover the politics, that argue, they get each side, they state their opinion aggressively, they take their positioning, they talk about whether they like, they believe in God or they don't, or religion, or what their positioning on art or AI or whatever. And you get to say it. And I love that about it. I think they have some caveats as well. But that's why you pick your venues, right? You pick what venue is there. But for me in this channel, I'm just going to tell you that I'm not really going to go into political, because you cannot, if a person likes who they like or a person believes what they believe, you can't change their mind. It's a dogmatic position. Okay, I remember when John F. Kennedy was president. My mother loves John F. Kennedy. To this day, she loves John F. Kennedy. You could sit there and tell her all of the bad things that John F. Kennedy did if you believe he did. All right. And my mother would just la, 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 and kick you out of her house. You're evil. Boop, because you're not going to change her mind. Period. You're not going to do it. So some of you like to have those debates, and I admire you for it, but it's not going to happen here. It's not going to happen here. I will state my opinion about things like the Snow White movie, because I think a terrible, terrible infraction has been done. Is that the right word? I can't imagine anyone. I would never. I mean, sitting there and this company is paying you handsomely and telling you they have great plans for you, and then you stab them by dissing the very thing that made them who they are today. I mean, it was the Springboard guys, Mickey too, but it was a collaborative effort. It takes a village. Walt was amazing. But have you ever read Walt's People? Read some of the early books called Walt's People by D.D.A. Getz. Is that how I say it? I wish David was here. He would tell me how to say it right. But D.D.A. is his first name. It's a beautiful set of books. I think he's up to 29 or 30. I'm going to be in one of them. I was interviewed for one. It was such an honor because I love these books. And in the beginning, the interviews happen with people who have passed, like animators who actually worked on Snow White. And they talk about what it felt like. We have to remember that at different times of the timeline, the mindset was different. Was it right? No. But it was an evolution that we must not forget. If we sweep it under the rug, we might do it again. So let's not, okay? Let's not do the seriously bad stuff. So it may be a bit PC, Mike, but it's my PC. I like that page. I do. I love the people. I love the people on it. I love all the people and here too, I love all the guys on YouTube, which is why I'm also on Instagram, as I showed you before. If I hide this, I'm on Instagram as well. Because someone said it'd be a great thing to share my pictures and to visit with people. And it is I have more followers there than anywhere else, but to add TikTok to it, I'm just not ready. And it's because I don't want to do a Jenga on myself and have too much. It's kind of like the chef who is really, really good and he opens one restaurant and then he thinks two might be good and then he does three. Like Gordon Ramsay even said, too many restaurants, you're trying to follow, 6 horses or 4 horses. And when you count on 1 or 2, you do a better job. And I think he's kind of focused on that or found someone who could actually do it under his name and make it right. But if there's someone who has a one restaurant and they really make it great, then you're always going back because it's so amazing. So, I mean, there you want to have a gastropub maybe in an elegant restaurant, true, but all chefs say if you stretch yourself out too thin, then the restaurants die off and then you're defeating the purpose as a chef and an artist. So that's kind of what I feel about that. Yes, she did not fit the role, and Alex Kingston that played River Song is very powerful. Is a very powerful woman. So good. The role, I think it means in the role, so much life in her acting. So there you go. You see? So that's what I'm saying. Hey, Kevin Costner's Horizon, an American Saga, Chapter 1 will be available on HBO this Saturday night at 8 p.m. And if you have Max, which I do, it's available for streaming starting on Friday. Chapter 2 was originally scheduled to be released in theaters last Friday, but it's been delayed. It's still coming, but the data hasn't been set yet. Costner says Chapters 3 and 4 should be going into production next year, possibly back to back. Although it already has some footage for Chapter 3. Now, is this Horizon, an American Saga, more Western, like his Yellowstone? No. What's it called? I haven't watched it in a while, but Yellowstone, right? Anyway, I know, Joe, you're a big fan of that show, as am I. I haven't watched it in a while, though. Last night, my husband and I curled up and watched Venom. Venom. I love Venom. And I was asking him, my husband, about the actor who does the character of Venom, who was also in the Mad Max series. And he's very intense. But he's very funny in Venom. I love him in those movies. And I asked if there was going to be a third one, and my husband said one more. But I like this actor. I don't know what it would be like to work with this actor, and the jury is out. Even he says he wishes that people didn't think he was horrible. But he's very focused, and he's very flexible as far as his character. So he's not a method, stick to the script kind of guy, it sounds like. And Charlize Theron, who is also in the Mad Max opposite him, really didn't like working with him. So, sometimes you have oil and vinegar and sometimes you have, a nice watercolor. So, but I was curious because I love him so much in Venom. I found out that the voice of Venom was his voice too, which I didn't even notice. But I just get a kick out of this character. I love this character so much. And I love how he says pancreas. I just do. It's a very, very fun movie. And I really like it. So that's why I'm asking if this is something with Yellowstone. Crazy Mike says the only way to save the new Snow White is to show it on. Let the bots do their thing and oh, that's really funny, Mike. Yeah, that's good. That's really good. That's seriously good. Hello, Tim Gillette. Welcome, my mentor in all video stuff. I wouldn't be on here if it wasn't for my husband Lindsay and the amazing Tim Gillette. Yes, he's the one who got me started. Yep. Tim Gillette told me, hold your phone like this, and did it. Benediction Cumberbund. Okay. What does this say? Benefit bumper cars. Bandicoot candy snatch. All right. Let's see. When traveling, don't use one of them. stick-on charge card holders that sticks on the back of the phone, since the magnet on the phone speaker can erase the magnetic strip on the card just because. Yes, just because. Yes, it depends. It depends on the case you have. Yes, indeed. Because it can. Now that they magnetically charge, it can mess them up. I have one with a barrier that prevents that. And it, yeah, they still work. Yeah. But that's a good piece of advice. Thank you, Mike. Let's see what you say here. He's talking about the Terry could have been worse. Speak to text could have put a curse word in instead of Diane. Could have. I tell you, they punk you, man. They just punk you. I was mocking Peter. Yes, I comment about the film. Sorry. It's Monday. You got to be careful when you do that on a Monday, Joe. I'm obvious that he doesn't want other dwarf actors to get work, only him. Is that the case? Or is it that he actually truly, I mean, what did I say? Lead with tolerance, right? Is it that he actually felt like he felt? He thought he was speaking. You know, he is one of the busiest little people working. And he can't say, I'm not a little person, because he is a little person. You know, why would he say I'm not? He'd say, but I'd rather my acting chops be the thing you look at. And I say that across the board for anybody, not just Peter. I think anybody, if the person comes in and they're great for the role, and maybe you thought it should have been a guy, and this woman just comes and kills it, give her the part. You're always going to benefit with that free thinking, you as the director or producer and a casting person. You know, Francis Ford Coppola talks about how they really didn't like some of the people he chose for actors in The Godfather. Okay. Forgive me. But he fought for them because he felt they would be wonderful. And even they weren't sure when they came in and they acted for it, you know, and it was a big role for some of them that had only had maybe lesser roles. And I don't mean lesser roles like less important, but less lines, less screen time. And now all of a sudden it's all about you on the screen as your character. And it might have made them nervous as young people. He believed in them and he fought for them. I mean, if you ever look at the special features on Godfather, and that's one of my favorite movies, when you hear about how he fought for certain people. Now, there's some castings I don't agree with, but for the most part, what I love about it is he cast them because he felt, you know, I'm the director. I want to cast this picture the way I see it. I want these people. Not because these people are in your stable of actors or because this one's less expensive. I want to do it because they fit the bill. And hence, Godfather is one of the greatest movies of all time. And I think it's because Coppola fought for who he wanted in those roles, right? That's the thing you do. You see an actor do a part and you say, hey, I remember I auditioned for a under 5 role. This is kind of what I'm doing, a co-starring role. So I do a lot of under 5, which means under 5 lines. And everybody who's a beginner kind of does this. So a lot of times I won't get the part when I audition because I look so different. And an under 5 role means a bridge between 2 iconic actors. They want you to look from one actor to the other actor with a little part in the middle. What do I mean? I.e. receptionist. Okay, so Terry, we're going to have you audition for the receptionist. But one person who is the casting director said, Terry, you did a great job, but I can't put you in this role because the camera will automatically stop because you're so unique looking. This is absolutely the truth. This is not lip service. So it's not a wonder that one of the biggest roles I got, one of the better roles that I got, was on a movie with James Woods, a TV show, James Woods, because James Woods is an unusual actor himself. And he's a very unique looking actor. He's a very unique in his acting. And so it's always, I love watching James Woods in acting things. And a lot of the people in the series that he was in are very interesting. So I auditioned for the role and I wasn't right for that role, but the producers called my agent and said, we're going to write something for her. because we all like her and we're going to write something for her. They actually wrote a part for me. It was jury foreman number 1, but it's not like they didn't have jury foreman, but they kind of tweaked it so that I had a little more airtime, and it became, rather than an under 5 role, it became a co-starring role. And they did that. They actually told my agent, we're going to write something for her. And they actually did it, because a lot of times they'll say that, but nah. But they liked my unusual look. So my agent always says, although you won't be getting a million auditions, the ones you get, you'll land because you have a very unique look. So this is what happens with me. A lot of auditions, if it's because of my positioning, who knows, one day when I'm 80, my hair's all white and I'm this, I'm this spitfire of an old woman, it might explode for me. Who knows? But right now it's under 5 work, and under 5 work, they want to just pass by you. They want you to be someone who you won't stop the camera on. If you're going from, a Kevin Costner to a Michelle Pfeiffer, you don't want to stop at the girl being the woman at the restaurant or whatever. You see what I'm saying? You don't want the camera to go, but. You want to go directly from Kevin to Michelle. Okay. And if you have a receptionist that looks any different from what your mind might be a receptionist as, or a dry cleaning person. I remember I auditioned for a role called in Dexter. Love Dexter. And I was supposed to be in the scene where they try to get the blood stain out of the shirt, and it's a cleaning agent. It's a cleaning person. So I auditioned for the cleaning person, and I did a fine job, but I knew the role was not going to be me, because you've got the actor who's looking for the shirt. You've got the person who's running the laundry, and and then the other person that's standing there are 2 regulars, and then this under 5 role, which is the cleaning owner of the dry cleaning place. And when I watched the role after the audition, it was a Hispanic woman. Now, of course it was, because this woman was very good. She was amazing. There's nothing, but they cast her because they felt she was right for the role. She just set well with them. And that's the way it works. Often in movies, the role is rewritten before, so I auditioned for in Venom. I told you I love Venom. There's a woman who's sitting on a blanket who takes free papers, and she offers them to him. She's homeless, and she sells them, and he actually buys one because he's just a great guy. He's a sweetheart, maybe a loser, but he's really good. And he's really sweet. And then she disappears. Well, that was a character I auditioned for. But by the time it got to the woman on the blanket, it became, rather than just an unknown person or a little known person, to someone we had seen in films before. So this can happen too, which is why my agent encouraged me to watch the films that I've auditioned for, or the shows, because we'll see that it is so different from me that it's not talking about my style. It's just saying, this is not what love you, but not for this, is a lot of times what they'll say. Unless you're a bad actor, then it's your acting. Let's see. LOL to Dad, give me the keys. Yes. I like Time Bandit, says John Chester. Hello, John Chester. John, I've been thinking about you a lot, because music and music therapy, and wondering how that's going, because I don't want you to give up on that. You're so good at it that I hope you're still doing it, and I hope you haven't given it up. I can see the Tide Bowl man. Hey, Disney, this is my pool. Get out. The Tidy Bowl man. Okay, I see what you mean. In the toilet. Yes, I got it. Took me a little bit. It's Monday. Terry, you're a PC. Are you iMac or Windows? I'm iMac. Remember what I told you about Apple products? I love the way they all cross over. I love the way they all, one crosses over the other, crosses over the other, crosses over the other. And they all connect. So I just, it's so much easier for me. You upload the Apple phone to your computer, you go buy a new Apple phone, you download it, and you're done. Then they tell you a few new features, and I will say that they often tell you that the what is it? The connector has changed. It is no longer what you have in your stable. We've changed them all. Guess what? You get to do. Yeah, that part I don't like, but I do love them. They're icon driven. So pictures are my thing, right? Yes. Hey, Terry, I like the part where the announcer says the 6 o'clock news is next on Channel 4. I used to love that too till my husband retired. Hello, Tim G, says John Chester. Look at that. He said hello to Tim. You need to connect with him again, John. I'm telling you. Joe says, regarding Horizon, it's not related to Yellowstone. It's a Western epic that takes place during the Civil War years and is about the manifest destiny and its effects on the native population. Costner has been trying to make it since 1980s and he finally got a chance. Well, that's nice, but Joe, he's not working with that guy, is he? I always say that guy, the one that wrote Yellowstone, the one that was also in it was it Hell and High Water, or I love that guy, the guy who's like really a cowboy and really he does he gets the stuntmen together and that guy, that what's his name, the author of Yellowstone. I think my husband said he's the one who wrote it. I have a special place for that guy. I love that guy. I can't remember his name, but I always loved that guy. The way he talks, the way he walks, the way he rides, the way everything about him. He's just amazing. He's amazing. He does something, and I'm trying to remember if it was the movie Hell or High Water or another movie where he's driving horses through they're crossing a street and they've done like a controlled fire and they're moving the cattle and their horses and the cattle. I think it's cattle across. And they say, hey, what's up? And he says, we're doing our controlled burn, moving da 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 da. And it's a simple scene, but that's when I was introduced to him, and I thought he's remarkable. And I think it was you, Joe, who was telling me that these two were having trouble, Kevin and this man, this writer guy, were having trouble, and it broke my heart because I love this guy. I think when it comes to Westerns, the man he's a real deal. So what's not to love, And the idea of Yellowstone having real authentic cowboys in the movie as opposed to people playing cowboys is really neat. It's just, it feels, the flavor of it feels wonderful, which is why I fell in love with it. But thank you. Thank you for letting me know about that, Joe, because I didn't know. I've been joking with Joanna about the Disney trip, and she can't go on Space Mountain. Her favorite coaster is closed. She says, I want to go on it. P.S. She does not go on any coasters. That's me. Well, make sure you're going to Disneyland, right? Or are you going to Walt Disney World? I can't remember. Do the Runaway Train with Mickey Mouse. It's super cute. And it's got Japanese technology. I'm just going to tell you that much, but it's super, super cute. It is adorable. I finally got to ride it 1 year after it opened. So it shows you what I'm about, the people. Joe says, what was the James Woods movie you were in? It wasn't a movie. It was a series. And for some reason, it's not in my head right now. I'll remember. I remember. Google me. It'll say it. But we have it. I just can't. But I love doing it. In fact, I actually, when I was getting into my, they put makeup and do all that. You sit in a makeup chair. You've ever seen those trailers where it's like a chair, and you're all chattering? Well, I was in the makeup chair, and then James Woods goes up 2 steps and then separate. So it kind of isolates him a little bit in the trailer. So you step up if you're James Wood to get your makeup on, and then you come down, and then it's everybody else. It was really cool because he was in the chair and he was kind of chattering with, the regular people meaning regulars on the show. And it was great just to sit there. And then the person who was doing my makeup said, you make a great judge if you just got a little grayer. At the time I was 57, 52, 53. When you get older, you make a great judge. So basically they want my hair to go gray, and it's doing it a little bit, but boy, it's taking its time. But I'd love to play a judge. I think that would be a fun role to play. So, but it was the series where they were lawyers. So I can't, it's not there. I'm sorry. It's not That they're going to Walt Disney World. Okay, I was gonna say at Disney. I know there's the Runaway Train, but I don't know if it's at Walt Disney World. But Tron is. So Tron's gonna be cool. I rode Tron in China, and it was amazing. It was amazing. Shark. See, my husband is watching. Shark. That's what it's called. Shark. See, it's Monday, so if my brain goes on the fritz, I have his. You know, the joy of being married to your soulmate, to the love of your life. Thank you, honey. I appreciate that. And with that, guys, I'm going to motor. I have Monday. I've got some things to ship out. It's always busy. Monday's always busy. Anyway, great to talk to you. Love hearing what you had to say about Snow White. We didn't like dwell on it and make people crazy. Yes, you did in 2021. It's just so much fun, Mike. It just was really cute. I love the little bird at the end. I could have just sat and watched him do his little thing at the end. He was really cute. But you guys have a nice time. Do something nice for someone else. It'll make you feel a whole lot better. It doesn't have to be a money thing. A phone call to someone you haven't talked to, a kind word to somebody who looks a little down. You know what to do. You're just like my tribe. But please join if you're interested. Check it out. Do me that favor. Join here, subscribe here, share it with friends if you think I said something that was important. Otherwise, I will see you later and have yourself a lovely, 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 lovely week. All my love and affection to you. Thank you for joining me. Hugs and kisses, and I'll see you soon.